the nature of God. You want the life of God. It's a year of God, not of death. Year of God, not of frustrations. Year of God, not of delay. Year of God, not of barrenness. Year of God, not of trouble. Year of God, and I've overcome them. Greater is he that is in you than him that is in the world. I come to announce to somebody, if there are powers in the world, the greater one resides in you. The greater one lives in you. He said, my little children, ye are of God. Ye are of God. None of your foundations, none of the arrows of the enemy. Ye are of God. And I've overcome them. How? Because he that is in you is greater than the arrows of enemy. Is greater than troubles of life. He that lives in you. I want to announce to you that Jesus lives in you, live in you, live in you. He that is born of God overcome the world, and this is the victory that overcome the world. Even our faith, I am born of God. No matter what come my way, I will overcome. I am born of God. When trouble come, I will overcome because I am born of God. He that is born of God overcome worldly tsunami. He that is born of God overcome worldly pandemic. He that is born of God overcome worldly disease. He that is born of God overcome lack and want. He that is born of God overcome the world. That is a realms. That is a chapter, because the greater God, he will create the heaven, lives in you. He will create the ends of the earth, lives in you. Yeah, you are the seed of God, and the seed of God never beg bread. David says, since I was born and now I'm getting old, I've never seen the son of the righteous forsaken. God never forsaken old. Mother may forsake you, father will forsake you, but God never forsake his own. God never forsake his own. We victory through death. We became victor through the death of Jesus. We became victor through the death of Jesus, because God never forsake his own. Some may trust in chariots, some may trust in horses, but we remember the name of the Lord. I'm the seed of God. I will not beg bread. I'm the seed of God. I will not die, because the scripture says whatever is commissioned in the hands of God, it is secure and safe. Nothing dies within the terrains of God. Nothing dies in the hands of God. We are the seed of God. Nothing dies. He said whatever